The land explored by our ancestors extends from Altai to the White Sea. The scientific expedition, Trails of Nomads, continues to unveil the path of our forefathers. Its leader is a true citizen of the world. He believes, without a deep understanding of the past, there is no future. Each journey is focused on a detailed study of history and culture. Pilgrim of the 21st century, Zapari Skakov, with a team of scientists, has already visited more than 50 countries. Scientists reveal the exciting secrets of the past. Watch an amazing story of a great journey in the Trails of Nomads program. Trails of Nomads expedition scientists keep searching for new information in Israel. Which of the Mamluk sultans introduced the rules in the Prophet Ibrahim Holy Mosque in the city of Hebron? Those rules were followed for 7 centuries. What role did the Sultans Beibarys and Qalawun play in the restoration of the Dome of the Rock in the city of Al-Quds? Who built the unique and its beauty gate of the famous Al-Aqsa Mosque? Thanks to their strength, courage, and intelligence, Mamluk sultans were able to win the battles with Mongol conquerors and crusaders. They liberated many nations from the burden of the invaders. They strengthened their defenses and improved their communication system to ensure stability and economic development. This is evidenced by a large number of built bridges. Another similar construction, erected by Beibarys, was discovered by the participants of the expedition, Trails of Nomads. Previously, scientists have already talked about one of the bridges erected by the Sultan.
Sonda осындай көпірлерді салып, Каирден Дамаскаға шейін.
These are the bridges they built. They allowed the army to reach Damascus from Cairo in just 3 days. Thanks to such mobility, they could move quickly and also quickly repel enemy raids.
Өздерінің жауларына қарсылық дұрыс көрсете алмайтын еді.
This is a bridge in the city of Yavne. It was built by Sultan Beibarys in 1273-1274 to cross the Sorek River. Its length is 48 meters. Its width is 11.5 meters. According to the construction technology, the bridge was similar to the Jindus Bridge in the city of Lod.
Бұл көпір
This bridge doesn't work now. However, 10 years ago, it functioned. Now there is much more transport and speeds are higher. Therefore, since the old bridge was not designed for such a load, a new one was built nearby. The old bridge remained on the territory of the architectural park.
мына көпір енді как архитектурный парктың ішінде қалып тұр.
Another building in the city of Yavne built under the Mamluks is the domed mausoleum of Abu Huraira. But now this tomb is associated with the name of another person who lived in the 2nd century. That's a rabbi, religious teacher, Rabban Gamaliel, who was supposedly buried here. An Israeli scientist accompanying the expedition expressed his opinion on this.
Но понятно по архитектуре, что это
This mausoleum cannot be attributed to the 2nd century because of its architecture. There is an inscription inside of the building. It says that at the end of the 13th century, according to the decree of Sultan Beibarys, reconstruction was carried out here, and a mausoleum dedicated to Abu Huraira, the comrade-in-arms of the Prophet Muhammad, was built. There are a lot of different versions about the burial of Abu Huraira. Some say that his tomb is in Medina. Others believe that it is in Yavne or in Ramla. No wonder they say that great people are born in one place, but die in thousands. Therefore, in 1274, Sultan Beibarys ordered the construction of a domed mausoleum, and in 1292, the son of Qalawun, Al-Ashraf Khalil Sultan, completed it. In 1948, local Muslims left for other regions. Earlier, both Jewish and Muslims came to this mausoleum to pray, but then only Jews came. However, the architecture of the monument dates back to the time of the Mamluks, more precisely to the period of the reign of Sultan Beibarys. After the city of Yavne, the participants of the scientific expedition Trails of Nomads headed for Hebron. It is located on the west bank of the Jordan River. The Arabic name for Hebron is Al-Khalil. Here, Khalil Allah lived, that is, the friend of Allah, the Prophet Ibrahim. His grave is also located in this city. This place is called the Cave of Machpelah. Ibrahim, his wife Sarah, their son Isaac, the grandson Yaqub, together with their wives, were buried there. Today, it is impossible to see the cave. Right on it, this building was built 2,000 years ago. Israeli historian calls it the Cave of the Patriarchs. And for all Muslims, this is the Prophet Ibrahim Holy Mosque.
Значит, в 1263 году
In 1263, Sultan Beibarys went on a campaign to capture the fortress of the Crusaders. Along the way, he visited the city of Hebron. Then he made a decision concerning the sacred place. Only Muslims could enter this place.
не пускали никого из немусульман, ни христиан, ни евреев.
The struggle for this place has been going on for a long time. At one time, only Jews had the right to pray here. Then Byzantine Christians came and built a church here, after the Muslims converted it into a mosque. And then the Crusaders replaced a crescent for the cross. Such constant changes were stopped for a long time by Sultan Beibarys. In 1267, he took the mosque of the Prophet Ibrahim under his protection and established strict discipline in the Holy Temple.
Когда выгоняют крестоносцев, султан Бейбарс решает.
Sultan Beibarys expelled the Crusaders from the city of Hebron and turned the church into a mosque. After the restoration of the courtyard area for Jews and Christians, the entrance to the temple was prohibited. They were allowed to rise only to the seventh step. The seventh step was here, in this corner, where women usually pray. The step was removed in 1967.
Это была там когда-то лестница, которую сняли в 1967 году.
The rule introduced in 1267 by Sultan Beibarys lasted for nearly 700 years. After the six-day confrontation that took place between the Israeli and Arab coalition in June 1967, the doors of the Machpelah cave opened for Jews. Now the complex is divided into two parts. Muslims pray in one, Jews in the other. In addition, at certain hours, especially on holidays, the temple only works as a mosque or only as a synagogue. Now Christians make pilgrimages to this holy place.
בתקופה של צלאח א-דין, רק כדי לעשות איזושהי השוואה, אנחנו רואים בעיקר פוקוס במה שקורה.
The policy of Sultan Beibarys and Salah ad-Din Ayyubid was continuous. Both of them defended the Islamic religion. However, the issues that Sultan Beibarys resolved were more ambitious, because his state occupied a vast territory. First, he fought the influence of the Shiites who ruled before him. Secondly, he fought with the Mongols. Thirdly, he rebuffed the Crusaders. He did all this not only with the help of military force. He built many facilities, including numerous mosques with towers that were striking from afar.
הפרנקים שהם יושבים כאן.
Katya Citrin-Silverman, a scholar at the Hebrew University, is studying the history of the Mamluks in Jerusalem. She narrates a lot of interesting facts from the life of our ancestors. After Hebron, scientists visited Al-Quds, a city full of historical secrets. This is the architectural complex Al-Haram Al-Sharif, located in the eastern part of the Old City. Here is a holy place for all Muslims. After the great mosque of Mecca, commonly known as Al-Masjid Al-Haram and the Prophet's Mosque in Medina, this is the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Also at the peak of Mount Moriah, there is another special building with golden domes. This is a dome of the Holy Rock. Therefore, it is called Qubat al-Shakhrah. That means the Dome of the Rock. Here is the Holy Rock. From there, the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. It should be noted that this dome was not built during the time the Prophet lived. It was erected by the Caliph of the Caliphate, Abd al-Malik ibn Marwan. According to our calculation, construction work began in 685 and ended in 691. The ascending of the Prophet Muhammad to heaven is a conversation with the Almighty. It happened on the 27th day of the month of Rajab in 621. This event marks the night that Allah took Muhammad on a journey from the Al-Haram Mosque in Mecca to Al-Aqsa Mosque in Al-Quds and then to heaven. He met all the prophets and angels there, saw all the omens of the Most High, and spoke with them. Since then, all Muslims have a mandatory fivefold prayer. Every Muslim must preserve such a place where a miraculous occurrence worthy only of the prophets took place. Kipchak Sultans made a great contribution to the maintenance of this holy site.
жылы Mamluktер біздің бабаларымыз келгеннен кейін бұл орада үлкен тағы да өзгерістер болды.
In 1260, after the arrival of our ancestors, the Mamluks, large changes took place at this place. The dome has been updated. Qalawun also took part in this. At his decree, the paint on the surface of the dome was changed. This paint may have been made of gold.
Оны мүмкін жай бояу болуы мүмкін, не болмаса алтыннан жасалған бояу болуы мүмкін.
After the arrival of the Crusaders, the crescent on the dome of the rock was replaced by a cross, which became a symbol of the Kingdom of Jerusalem. In 1099, the Knights Templar captured the Al-Haram al-Sharif complex and used it as a royal palace, but the rule was short-lived. In 1187, Salah ad-Din Ayyubi returned the shrine to Muslims and restored it. Later, this work was continued by the Mamluks. Kipchak Sultans decorated the dome of the rock with sapphire.
Там есть мозаика. Когда видите там наверху, эта мозаика.
There is a small mosaic at the top made by Sultan Beibarys. He also restored the Al-Aqsa Mosque and built 35 mosque madrasas nearby. The Al-Aqsa school was built during the reign of Sultan Beibarys.
У нас тоже есть школа, называл Al-Aqsa. Школы, когда это будет построено во время Султана Бейбарса.
All Muslims initially prayed in the direction of Al-Aqsa. Ayat sent down by the Almighty speaks about the obligation to pray in the direction of the Kaaba. Therefore, this place is considered holy for every Muslim. One prayer read here is equal to 500 prayers.
Бұл Al-Aqsаны бірінші салған уақытында бұл 7-ші ғасыр, 8-ші ғасыр басы бұны салған арабтар. Одан кейін 11-ші ғасырда
Al-Aqsa was built by Arabs at the beginning of 7th to 8th centuries. After that, in the 11th century, the Fatimids completed its construction. After many centuries, the Crusaders came. In 1187, after Salah ad-Din drove off the Crusaders, he restored the mosque. Then the Mamluks came in 1260. They completely restored the whole complex. It was reconstructed by our ancestors.
Mamluktер келді. 1260 жылы. Осы арадағы тұрған күллі комплексті жөндеу, орнына келтіру, жаңалау, міне біздің бабаларымызға тиісті болды.
During the Kipchak Sultans, a major overhaul was carried out in the Al-Aqsa Mosque. This can be judged by architecture. The walls alternated with white and black colors. The upper platbands of the gates are decorated with patterns resembling honeycombs. These are signs of Mamluk architecture. This is Katanin, one of the 15 gates in the Al-Aqsa Mosque. They are rightfully considered the most beautiful. They were built in 1336 by Sultan al-Nasir Muhammad. By order of the son of Qalawun, many other objects were also erected here. The Mamluk sultans who ruled before and after also contributed to the construction of the mosque. Since then, a lot of time has passed, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque has significantly changed.
Екіге бөлінген екен бұл мешіт. Бірінші мынау ескі салынған мешіт, мұны омейядтар салған, это халифат. Ал менің оң жағымдағы.
This mosque was divided into two parts. The first is the old mosque. It was built by the representatives of the Umayyad Caliphate. Another part of the mosque was built during the Ottoman Empire. Now both parts make up a single Al-Aqsa Mosque. Our ancestors here left a big mark. They built large facilities, especially during the Sultans Beibarys, Qalawun, and his son, An-Nasir Muhammad. Therefore, we enjoy respect here.
Al-Qalawun уақытында сонда біз бұлар бізге енді өте қазір жақсы қарайды.
Local Muslims warmly welcome any guest who is considered to be a descendant of Deshta Kipchak. The reason is the good deeds of Beibarys, Qalawun, and their descendants. During the reign, Kipchak Mamluks ensured prosperity in Al-Quds.
Sultan Beibarys is Egypt.
Sultan Beibarys came from Egypt, but his native land is Kazakh land. He's a Kipchak. He was taken to Egypt in his youth. Thanks to his mind, he grew from an ordinary person to a sultan.
At Majid Al-Jami Al-Azhar, on bila Sambara Shoy Shalawik, was later on bila Sultan Samnu Umni Shalawik.
Al-Burak, or Horse Bridge, is another historical place of the architectural complex Al-Haram Al-Sharif. According to Jewish, this is a Wailing Wall. This is a place of prayer and pilgrimage sacred to the Jewish people. It is the only remains of the Second Temple of Jerusalem. Therefore, Jews come here to mourn the loss and pray. There is also an autograph of the Kipchak Mamluks.
Астыңғы 4 қатары бұл Ирод патшаның уақытында салынған. Оған 2000 жыл болды.
The lower 4 rows were built during the reign of Herod. They are 2,000 years old. At the top, there are 7 more rows that were built by the Arabs in the Umayyad period in the 7th, 8th centuries. Above, there are 17 more rows. This is the time of our ancestors. That is, it was built by the Mamluks. 28 rows were built over 3 centuries.
Сонда бұл жары көрініп тұрған 28 қатар 3 дәуірде салынған.
28 rows, or 19 meters, are the parameters of the wall above the ground. There are 17 more rows underground. This is approximately 13 meters. The height of one stone is more than 1 meter. The width reaches 3 meters. The construction of such a wall required incredible forces. According to scientists, its construction is a symbol of Kipchak respect for representatives of another religion.
Жардың араларында қуыстар бар, соған
There are niches between the rocks. People write their wishes on paper and leave them here. Only the Most High knows whether they come true, but this is a tradition.
бірақ сондай дәстүр бар.
Information from the work of English scientist Karen Armstrong. Jerusalem, one city, 3 faiths, was supplemented by the doctor of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Katya Citrin Silverman. During the reign of the Kipchak Sultans, descendants of Deshta Kipchak along with Muslims, the interests of both Christians and Jews were taken into account and defended. In the Middle East, this time was called the Golden Age. The main goal of the Bahri Mamluks was to establish stability and ensure security. The fruits of this policy were seen already under the reign of Sultan Al-Nasir Muhammad. The era of prosperity of states occupying a large territory began. The economic situation and living standards of the people increased significantly. The reign of Beibarys and Qalawun, as well as their descendants who came from Deshta Kipchak, is called the era of prosperity in the Middle East. This conclusion was made by Israeli scientists, based on buildings and structures erected under the guidance of our ancestors. Until now, many of them continue to serve for the good of the countries in which they are located. There are also monuments that were destroyed and remained under the sand. Their secrets were not revealed.
Sultan Beibarystар, Qalawunдар, олар Deshta Kipchak келген.
Sultan Beibarys, Qalawun came from Deshta Kipchak. That is, this is the current territory of Kazakhstan. From 1250 to 1382, almost 132 years, they ruled in Arab countries. They had strong ties with the Golden Horde. The local population, of course, should be aware of this, and we should meet with local residents and speak more about our history. They should know about the contribution of our ancestors to the development of their countries.
Олар көбірек білу керек.
Well, we will tell you about the heritage of the Kipchak Mamluks in the Holy Land of Jerusalem in the following episodes. The work of the Trails of Nomads scientific expedition team in Israel continues.